It's the game that divides Melbourne, the A-League's biggest club against its newest. But the history of this crosstown clash is far from friendly. The new boys rocked the establishment in the first instalment before the big boys hit back. But this showdown remains personal. Some have tasted all of it, others will experience it for the very first time. It's the Melbourne Derby, it's victory against the heart, and it's live on Fox Sports. It's a new derby, but it's a true derby, it's a true rivalry, and there is true feeling between these two after an incident-packed series of games last season, producing 11 goals, 2 red cards, 22 yellows, and plenty of talking points. And the aftermath of Kevin Muscat's challenge on Adrian Zara still lingers. It is well and truly on tonight at Etihad Stadium. Rivalry round in the Hyundai A-League, and the depth of dislike that has built between these two clubs in just one season is testimony to the sporting passion of the Melbourne public. Even at such a fledgling stage, it appears in this city you're either red or you're blue. Here's the team lineups for tonight's derby. Melbourne Victory making 2 changes. Captain Adrian Leyer, of course, is suspended. Carlos Hernandez is left on the bench. Izaka Cernak comes in on the right flank. Petar Franjic into the centre of defence. Harry Kewell will play in behind Archie Thompson, who reverts to his preferred central striking role, and he will also captain the side in Leyer's absence. Now for Melbourne Heart, Clint Bolton is back between the posts and Simon Colosimo is reinstalled into the defence. Jonathan Germano is also recalled. That means Matt Thompson will shift into midfield, where of course there's no Fred through injury. But Mate Dugandzic will receive plenty of attention, no doubt, from the Victory fans. He becomes the first player to play for both clubs in the derby. So here they come. Etihad Stadium has already been packed once this season for the visit of Brett Emerton and Sydney FC. Tonight they've come in their thousands again to see if one of these teams can finally get their season kick-started, and also to find out who will have bragging rights in this city until the next derby at the end of December. Plenty of red and plenty of blue in the stands, and plenty of feeling there too. The Melbourne Heart fans way down to our left, and the blue of Melbourne Victory away to our right, and some lovely and creative banners from the two clubs, or the two supporters of the two clubs as well. The pre-game handshakes. That might be the last time tonight that the two sets of players are friendly towards each other. It has really been building this week. In fact, been building since the last meeting. Well, John van Schip needs a win tonight. He accused his players of insecurity against Perth Glory last weekend. He must hope they've left their nerves in the dressing room this evening, because tonight is no place for the faint-hearted. There's Mehmet Durakovic, the Victory coach. He played in plenty of derbies, of course, for South Melbourne. His reign as coach for the Blues is just 2 games old, but already he's finding out just how hot his seat is. He too needs a win this evening. The coin toss, and the smiles between the two skippers. Our referee tonight is Strebre Delovski. The derby, of course, needs a cool head and a strong personality. It's Delovski's 55th game in charge. His assistants, Matthew Cream and Ashley Beecham. So the two Melbourne clubs, captained by the two Thompsons this evening. Both stand-ins for the suspended Adrian Leyer and the injured Fred, Matt Thompson and Archie Thompson. Well, Melbourne Victory with the much vaunted attack. Rarely before has a club put together such an embarrassment of riches, but after Sydney's win in Adelaide a little earlier, they are now the only club in the A-League yet to score this season. Heart have scored 3 times. Their problems perhaps at the other end. They've conceded 5 and they're still without a point. Zaka Cernak getting his first start for the Blues this evening. Wayne Shroy perhaps a vital cog in midfield for the Heart. And Harry Kewell restored to perhaps his favoured position in behind Archie Thompson. Will that make the difference for the victory? We are about to light a blue touch paper at Etihad Stadium. Melbourne victory against Melbourne Heart. And Melbourne Derby number 4 is underway. And if the last 3 are anything to go by, then this could be a bit of a roller coaster ride, Andy Harper.
Well, I think it's reasonable to expect that, Simon. It's just incredible to see how quickly this has grown, and you get a taste of how much bigger it's going to become over the years. Both sets of fans just looking fantastic. So much noise. The roof closed here at Etihad. Completely electric, the atmosphere.
Good job the roof is closed as well. It's turned into a rather filthy night in Melbourne. It was dry when we arrived around 2 o'clock this afternoon, but the rain started about 5 o'clock and it hasn't ceased since. Nice and dry inside the stadium, and of course it makes the noise reverberate around this wonderful arena as well. And even though the derby is new, Andy, you'd imagine perhaps 1 or 2 nerves tonight, particularly with the poor start from both clubs.
Well, it's so much riding at such an early stage of the season for both teams. And it just is that extra little bit of spice to really set this evening up. 19 degrees inside the stadium here. Perfect conditions. The pitch is as good as we've seen it as well.
Quick throw in taken by Dugandzic, who's going to get plenty of stick tonight. Towards halfway by Ante Kovic. Both teams trying to settle down in the heat of the derby. Simon Colosimo with the raking ball in behind. It's a good one too. Dugandzic quickly closed down by Fabio, but it'll be a corner.
Wouldn't be surprised if Fabio is a bit of a target for Melbourne Heart tonight. He's had a couple of slip-ups in the first 2 rounds. Last week, of course, the goal came as a result of his error, and the week before he conceded the penalty against Sydney FC. Colosimo zeroing in early on the Melbourne victory, left fullback.
Dugandzic to deliver the corner. Should be the goalkeepers. And despite a bit of pressure from Wayne Shroy, which draws the ire of Ante Kovic, it's pretty comfortable for the victory. It's been a real steady pair of hands despite victory's poor start. Ante Kovic. Brilliant performance against Sydney FC, round 1. Archie Thompson linking up with Lee Broxham here. Dribbles behind, goal kick for the Heart.
Already Archie Thompson pinning his ears back and working that line, exploiting the space in behind. The Heart defence. Been pretty vocal in his thoughts about where he'd prefer to play.
Do you think Victory have a better balance about them in attack this evening?
There's no question about that. I think the one big question mark that remains is how to fit Giancarlo Solorzano in this team, if that's possible.
Here's Dugandzic going through the middle, first chance for the Heart, and Kovic is out very smartly to the edge of the box. Quick work again by the goalkeeper to deny Mato Dugandzic, and wouldn't he love to score in this derby?
Certainly a more vibrant Melbourne Heart compared to this time last week.
And that's another loose one by the Dark Blues. Alex Terra with the drive.
And this chance came about because of a sensational piece of ferreting work in midfield from Colosimo. He'd left his defensive deployment, gone into midfield with a very timely big toe to set that chance up for Mate Dugandzic. Ante Kovic just too good off the line.
Heart have certainly settled the quicker of the two. So it's Zaka Cernak, but he loses out to Moroni, who performed pretty well against Andrezinho, the tricky Andrezinho of Perth last week. And that's another corner for Melbourne Heart.
Well, they've had good possession, and they've had it in the front third of the pitch, Melbourne Heart, and they have looked the goods. Only 4.5 minutes gone, but according to my memory of last week, Simon, they've already played more football in 4 minutes here tonight than they did last week, so they've had a very fertile week on the training ground, you'd imagine.
Can it pay dividends from the set piece? Ganzic again lining it up. Similar sort of target area. David Williams quickly closed down by Harry Kewell. Throw in for the victory. Just talking of the Hearts lineup, Andy. Simon Colosimo and Clint Bolton back in the defensive scheme of things, which perhaps might give them a bit more stability in that area of the park.
Well, just the mere presence of Clint Bolton, who's going to have a calming influence on the defenders in front of him. His contribution this year is going to be down to how he manages his injury status, as we saw him revealing during the week, that his experience and his quality should get him through if he can stay patched up. Ditto Simon Colosimo. I mean, what a massive game to come back for, and these are just the types of games where Colosimo plays at his best. He is a blue chip football investment. Colosimo, there's no question about that on the talent register.
Nikola Roganovic, by the way, the erstwhile Heart goalkeeper, isn't even on the bench tonight. Not sure whether he's got a knock or not, but Sebastian Mate is Bolton's deputy this evening. Archie Thompson offside, clearly so. There is Simon Colosimo, heavily linked, of course, with a move across town to Melbourne Victory, but Hearts not willing to let him go to their closest and bitterest rivals.
I don't think that was the problem, Simon, quite as much as them not...
You don't think?
Well, if they had a replacement, I mean, that's what they've said. If they had someone ready to go, and their public utterances were, well, you can talk to Melbourne Victory, but you're going nowhere until we can find, unless we can find someone else. But he very quickly put his gear back in his bag and turned up for training, and we were told very committed to the Melbourne Heart course.
Yep, in Heart's own language, he remains a required player. As the Blue and White Brigade behind Ante Kovic's goal, always noisy, away to our right. At the moment, they're about to watch Victory defend this set piece, which Mate Dugandzic is preparing to take. Decent delivery. Harry Kewell was up highest. Williams just got his angles wrong there.
Unfortunate for the Heart too. It was just lacking in the required touch, but the vision was good, the idea was good, and the space available for Gigantic was very open. Melbourne Victory finding it very difficult to get out of their own territory at the moment. It's a very concerted period of pressure from the visitors tonight, Melbourne Heart.
Kewell. Another throw in for the victory. Great atmosphere inside Etihad, certainly up in the stands. What's it like down touchline, Michael Zappone?
Electric, Simon. A wonderful atmosphere. The North Terrace in full voice, and comparing this crowd to round one, well, my prediction is there'll be well over 40,000 here. If you look around and on level 3, pretty much full to the back seat. So well over 40,000 here tonight. A wonderful attendance and a wonderful atmosphere.
Certainly is. Thanks, Michael. Mate Dugandzic not quick enough to retreat the full 10 metres.
I reckon Harry Kewell's got a point there. I'm not a huge fan of players taking quick free kicks to get yellow cards. But Mate Dugandzic actually advanced towards the free kick there. I understand the frustration.
Rojas to deliver, and Clint Bolton to claim. Quick release too. And away comes David Williams, the speedy David Williams. Well, Grant Brebner maybe nearing 34, but he's no slouch either. We talk about good imports to the A-League, which has been a hot topic of debate lately. Not many people mention Grant Brebner, but he's been very consistent for Melbourne victory, although he has coughed up a free kick there, of course. Harry Kewell, 33, but still very, very involved. He just loves being on a football pitch. So another free kick from this sort of range for Melbourne Hearts. Dugandzic has had a couple of sighters. And that will end up in the same register. Early release from Ante Kovic, but too much on that. Oh, a real slice by Clint Bolton, straight to Archie Thompson. Bolton out of position for a moment. The Hart defence quick to scramble. This is Rojas. Clips it into the box where Broxham was waiting, and Bolton's come an awful long way. Good job, Aziz Bayic is not the tallest of players, otherwise he might have copped a right hook there.
Well, he was desperate to make amends, Clint Bolton. It's a tasty one in behind for Alex Terra too. It's been a pretty open affair. Melbourne victory have regained some composure after, territorial at least, being under the pump.
Melbourne derby just starting to gently simmer. Cernak, beautiful header into the path of Kewell. They do some damage here for the victory. Two defenders around him, that was one too many. Huge cheers from the Hart faithful. Bayic has one that wanted to touch. Heavy first touch. Cernak and Broxham getting their wires crossed, and this is Matt Thompson playing in the centre of midfield this evening, which personally I still think is his best role. Don't know whether you agree, Harps?
Well, I think he'd agree too. He answered the call of his coach to plug up the gaps in defence, and he did as well as he could through the course of last season and at the start of this one. But there's no question that midfield's where he's at home and most effective. With a fit Simon Colosimo providing guidance to a Curtis Good or a Brendan Hamill, then Melbourne Hart can make sure their central defence is patched up. Bit of heat already.
Yeah, tackle started to fly in, and Strebro Delovski was quick to put himself in the middle of all that. It's a bit like a referee trying to get between two boxes. That was the tackle that annoyed the Hart players perhaps most of all. And it's Broxham to whom Strebro Delovski is speaking. He's got a cool head, Delovski. Doesn't like to flash around the yellow cards unnecessarily. No, he's done well there. Just trying to take the heat out of it.
Yeah, it's done well. He's an excellent referee. Strebro Delovski, back from back surgery. We missed him a lot last year.
Colosimo's free kick, and Hart have ghosted it behind. There's a chance here. Oh, and it was a really good one too for Alex Terra. Ante Kovic couldn't quite believe that he didn't get better contact on that one, the Brazilian.
Just couldn't quite make up the ground, but this is Matt Thompson at his best. Ghosting from midfield, in between defenders.
The Hearts are pressing again here. Dugandzic, and it comes to Williams, who drives it. And Kovic is there again. Two good chances for Melbourne Heart.
Ante Takovic has stood between Melbourne Heart and the lead here.
Terror certainly had the better of those two chances. Scored in the first Melbourne derby, of course, and that historic 2-1 win for the Heart. There we go, 4 shots on goal by the visitors. Here's Archie Thompson trying to square the ledger. Goes near post, and Bolton well positioned. Starting to liven up, Andy.
It is. Put on the seat belts. The settling in period is now behind us. If ever there was one, that is. Melbourne Heart have relaxed early into the game. Melbourne Victory coming back into it, and chances at both ends of the field.
And there's space here for Jonathan Germano. Thought about the shot and then eventually does unleash. The Yarra side, or the travelling Yarra side, clad in red and white. They really are great scenes. There's the blue and white of Melbourne Victory. Here's that chance for Archie Thompson for Melbourne Victory, Andy.
Well, when Archie is moving off the ball like this, angled runs, or square runs along a flat defence, you know he's really got an appetite for it.
Loves scoring at this stadium. 20 goals in 47 appearances at Etihad. He's caught offside there, though. Maybe it was Zaka Cernak, one of the two. Ashley Beecham with the flag. Fabio, loose touch, gives it to Morone. He's got a tricky task on his hands tonight, the Brazilian, up against Mate Dugandzic. He's had, I think it's fair to say, an awkward start to his Victory career. Gave away a penalty against Sydney and was responsible, at least in part, for Adelaide's winner at Hindmarsh last weekend. He has received backing from Mehmet Durakovic, said he's played well otherwise. He'll want to be safe and secure against Dugandzic tonight down that particular flank. Losimo. Troy couldn't control it. This is an awkward bouncing one for Aziz Bejic. Germano's header. For Sheeny, and then Lee Brock some jumps. Zaka Cernak fouled. Free kick Victory. Wanted the throw in for Victory, but it's gone to Hart instead. Melbourne Hearts now 8 games without a win, which even in their short history is a new and unwanted club record. In fact, their last win, Andy, came against a club that no longer exists, North Queensland Fury. Anxious to get up and running as well tonight, says Dugandzic, who's been very involved for the Heart early on. Pass was behind him. This is Rojas. Siding challenge from Morone, and Srebredelovski will again have words.
Well, again, this is good refereeing from Srebredelovski, because this is not any ordinary foul. This is a situation when Melbourne Victory were looking to spring what could have been a very decent opportunity for a counter-attack. Michael Morone was alert to the danger and committed the third of Melbourne Hearts fouls. And Delovski was all over it.
Alex Terra with some room for manoeuvre. Fabio stranded further up the park. Needs a bit of support, Terra. Morone's made a run. Instead it's down the line forward to Gancic. Nobody at the far post for Hart. And comfortably done, very neatly done by Matthew Foschini. Who of course is wearing the number 2 jersey vacated by Kevin Muscat. Now sat on the bench for the Dark Blues. Thompson onside. Must have been close though. Does love to play right on the shoulder of the last line of defence, Archie Thompson. Here's another Thompson, Matt. Curtis Good. A good ball too. Terra. Well, David Williams had made a little dash inside and Terra went to the flank instead. He's had Melbourne Heart's best opportunity as the Melbourne Victory Brains Trust. This is Durakovic and Muscat. And Durakovic actually won a grand final in a local derby. You'll remember that one, Andy. South Melbourne against Melbourne Knights many years ago.
Indeed. Very fond memories, those big derby matches in the old NSL.
Well, last 5 minutes. Melbourne Heart still seeing plenty of the ball. This man on it now, less so, Harry Kewell. Feeding Zaka Cernak. Chance to run at Bajic, perhaps. He's been shepherded out well towards that corner flag, as is Bajic. It's another perhaps key contest this evening. Bajic, the former Melbourne Victory man. There are 1 or 2 in the Heart lineup. Finding Broxham and Thompson. Cernak. Wasteful. A few groans from those with dark blue scarves on. Maybe some more in a moment. Counter-attack on here for the Heart. Gancic. And they're away here, Melbourne Heart, through Michael Morone. Again, they just chose the wrong option there. Terra darting towards the near post. Not quite sure what Michael Morone was trying to do there.
Well, that's been the case the last few minutes at both ends of the field. Zaka Cernak with a cheap turnover, providing an opportunity for Melbourne Heart to break, and they have Melbourne Victory at their mercy. Michael Morone, with options available, finds vacant space.
Do you feel as though there's a little bit of tension about the two teams? Not just because it's a derby, Andy, but as we alluded to earlier, because of the poor start, it is so important for both sides that they get a good result tonight.
Well, you don't want to be dropping more points. You never want to lose football matches, of course, but a great start by either team. And you're right, Simon. Brisbane are 3 from 3. They're on 9 points. And for either of these teams, that's potentially a nasty one from Grant Brebner. Bit of a high foot. Nothing overly malicious, but Streptolovsky again. Quick on the decision.
Just on the league ladder, with Sydney winning, the 2 Melbourne clubs, of course, now occupying the bottom 2 spots. Thompson, another late challenge by Brebner, but didn't make contact with the man.
Well, already, 2 things about Melbourne Heart. Already, Matt Thompson is providing far more drive out of midfield than they saw last week, Melbourne Heart. So that's a real positive. And secondly, most of their productive attacking is coming down this right-hand side.